Good evening and welcome to Premier League Live on this Friday night as we kick off our final 4 weeks of the Premier League season. The final month of the campaign of May gets underway tonight as we watch a Manchester City side looking for a 15th consecutive season in the Champions League. They can move up to third with a win tonight, but Wolves, who are on a 6-game winning streak, they want to make it 7, but they've only won once here at the Etihad in the Premier League era, and they will hope that they can buck that trend here this evening. That was in 2019, a long time ago, but what a job Vitor Pereira has done since coming in at Wolves. When these two last met, Wolves were rock bottom of the table with just a single point to their name. A good 26 weeks later, and they find themselves in 13th, well safe, and very much looking towards a top half finish. It's still mathematically possible for Wolverhampton Wanderers. But this incredible run also matched by Manchester City, who've been up and down this season with their form. But coming into the final weeks of the season, they're into another FA Cup final, the third successive FA Cup final for Manchester City. Alternate results in their last 2 trips to Wembley in that competition. But this is a Wolves side that will always cause a tough task for Manchester City, and we'll see what they can offer tonight. Let's have a look at the two teams then, starting with the home side. And it's Edison that starts in goal. A back 4 of Matheus Nunes, Ruben Dias, Joško Gvardiol and Nico O'Reilly in defence. In midfield, Mateo Kovacic and Ilkay Gundogan, with captain Kevin De Bruyne in the 10. On the right-hand side, Bernardo Silva. On the left side is Jeremy Doku. And leading the line is Omar Marmoush. On the bench for Manchester City, Ortega, Akanji Lewis, Grealish, Gonzalez, Foden, Savinho, McAtee and Erling Haaland makes a surprise return to the bench tonight. For Vitor Pereira's Wolves, who are in cracking form at the moment, coming at the right end of the season for them. They start with Jose Sa in goal. A back 5 of Nelson Semedo, the captain, Matt Doherty, Agbadou, Totti Gomez and Ryan Aït-Nouri. A midfield of Andre and João Gomez, with a front 3 of Marcel Munetsi, Jean-Marc Bellegarde and Matheus Cunha, their leading goal scorer this season. Leading the line. Jørgen Strand Larsen not involved for Wolves tonight, which is a body blow. Bentley, De Giga, Lima, Bueno, Gomez, Doyle, Sarabia, Huang and Guedes all on the bench. Two sides in very good form as of recent times. One in a cup final and one targeting a top half finish. Kickoff of the Etihad is next. A very good evening and welcome to Premier League Live this evening. For this one in the Premier League, watching Manchester City, who would look to consolidate their top 5 finish this evening with a big win. That would be a very good result for them, and they can move up to third tonight after Nottingham Forest's failure to move up to third last night with that home defeat against Brentford. A real kind of blip for them in Nottingham Forest. And are they falling as we edge towards the final hurdles of this season? Well, Manchester City are certainly not, and Pep Guardiola's side are returning to the form that we're used to seeing from them. 6 wins in the last 7 games, unbeaten in the last 8 since a defeat away at Forest for City. It's unbeaten in 7 for Wolves, including winning all of their last 6 in a row. So both sides in various form and ferocious towards the end of the season. 4 games to go of this campaign for these two, and a lot still on the line. For Wolves, well, they've been safe for quite a while, and they were actually one of the teams that was closest to the relegation zone just a few weeks ago, with that incredible winning form, picking up half of their season wins in the last 6 games. They've won 12 over the campaign, and all 6 of those 12 have come in their last 6 games. So an incredible turnaround for Vitor Pereira and his team. And they have a tough test on their hands here tonight against the Manchester City side, who, as I said, in great form of their own and have a lot still to fight for in wanting to get Champions League football back once again next season after their early exit in the competition this season, We're underway at the Etihad. They took their time getting us underway tonight. A minute or so late, but better late than never, as they say. Man City, of course, in their home strip of sky blue shirts and white shorts, and Wolves in their their home strip of gold shirts, gold shorts, and gold socks. They are all in gold, which is a colour Manchester City are very used to over the last number of seasons, having won the league in the last 4 campaigns, but dethroned last weekend when Liverpool claimed the title against Tottenham. And that took them off their champion status, which they will, I'm sure, be very much fighting for next season. Will Manchester City. But they get Matchday 35 underway. Jesus, putting us well back there. Matchday 35 underway, and it's the real kind of the final stretch of the season. You know, it would be a surprise if Manchester City didn't get Champions League football out of this campaign, because it hasn't been that factor in a good 14 seasons since they last were not in the Champions League. So it would be an unfamiliar territory for them, and obviously with the extra space now this season, you would expect them to take one of those spots up. Here's Doku down the left-hand side for City. Back inside to Gundogan. Vardiol gives it back to Doku. And now comes to Mateo Kovacic and lays off the shot there from distance from Ruben Dias. And that one goes narrowly wide, but worth a hit from Ruben Dias there. Long range. It's not too far away. It had Jose Sa scrambling. He was never going to get to it, but certainly had him chasing for it. Our referee this evening, Peter Banks. BAR is Paul Tierney for this one. A very staggered weekend. Friday night game, 4 games on Saturday, 4 games on Sunday, and then a Monday night football. Lots of action as we enter, as I say, the final 4 weeks of the season. The title race done and dusted. The relegation battle done and dusted. The Champions League still rolls on, and here's Matheus Cunha for Wolves, breaking forward, and the shot was wayward there from the man who's found the net more than anyone else in the Wolves gold this season, Matheus Cunha. He's been in great form this season. 15 Premier League goals. Jørgen Strand Larsen not too far behind him in 13, but they are by far the 2 top scorers at Wolves. The 3rd highest scorer was Ryan Aït-Nouri with 4 goals. So Matheus Cunha and Jørgen Strand Larsen sharing that quality up front. It's not only goals that he provides, Matheus Cunha, assists as well. 21 goals and assists this season, 6 assists in the Premier League. So he's the highest in terms of that as well. Here's Jeremy Doku trying to find Gundogan, who had no real room. Try and get further forward, and it's a goal kick to Wolves. And there's a man Manchester City wish they had in their team. Haven't had him in the team since very, very early in the campaign. And that draw with Arsenal here earlier this season. Rodri got himself injured, and that ended his campaign very early, which was a real body blow to Manchester City. And I mean, not to say that everything that has unravelled since has been all down to that injury, but it certainly hasn't helped the situation. And Manchester City giving away a free kick there. Bernardo Silva with a foul on Jean-Richard Bellegarde. Here's Aït-Nouri down the left-hand side. Bellegarde dragging 2 with him. He's got Omar Marmoush for company there, dropping a lot deeper, and that's great physicality from the centre forward there for Manchester City. Sees it out for a goal kick. That was really good defensive work there from Omar Marmoush. Quality signing. Been a blessing in disguise in sense, bringing him in, the Egyptian. Good age, good quality player, joined for over £60 million from Eintracht Frankfurt in the summer. And what a deal it was for Eintracht Frankfurt. They got him for a free off of Wolfsburg back in July 23. 18 months there, and he's sold for over £60 million. And all of his goals so far, Omar Marmoush, in the Premier League have come, of course, at the Etihad Stadium. 6 Premier League goals he scored this season, and all have come on this ground. Of course, scored a hat-trick in a single game, so that might sway the stats a little bit, but there's no place like home, as the old saying is. And Omar Marmoush certainly making the Etihad and Manchester City his home. Lovely ball forward here. Cunha, not a great first touch, but he tried to help it on to Bellegarde. They still got it alive here, Wolves. Cunha, still got it. Finds Ait-Nouri. Ryan Ait-Nouri dragging back. Finds Bellegarde. Now Cunha. Round about the edge of the Manchester City box. Lovely little 1-2, and Bellegarde's attempted a cross. Well blocked there at the near post. And a corner to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Really nice intricate football in and around the edge of the box there from the three. Ait-Nouri, Bellegarde and Cunha. Bernardo Silva was the man that put in the challenge to put it out for this corner. First corner of the game. A chance for Wolves to test the defence of Manchester City from this set piece. It was a set piece that won the game for City in the reverse fixture. The dying embers from John Stones. Wolves have the first corner here. Whipped in deep and was towards the back post, but no one there. And Gold, it just goes behind for a goal kick. Decent delivery by Matheus Cunha, but there's just no one there at the back post for Wolves, and just couldn't really make much of it. Trying to see who it was that was lurking in and around there. And just didn't really work out for Wolves. They've got the ball here. Manetzi, he drifts it back in, and here's Cunha trying to cut it back. Couldn't beat past Ruben Diaz, and then there's going to be a foul in the box there on Mateo Kovacic by Munetzi, and a free kick to Manchester City. See this again, it's a strange kick by Ruben Diaz out to Nico O'Reilly. O'Reilly's a terrible first touch, and Munetzi does really well, steps in, finds it into Cunha, and as he tries to cut it back, well blocked there by Ruben Diaz, but at the same time, it was a little bit nervy from Manchester City there. Not as convincing as you would have expected, playing out from the back. Here's Kovacic, much better from City. Bernardo Silva, dribbling his way around Matheus Cunha. O'Reilly, Bernardo Silva. 8 minutes gone. City have had slightly the more of the possession. Nothing of any great quality in the attack and third for Manchester City. It's probably Wolves that have looked the more threatening on the attack so far in these early moments. Ruben Diaz drifting the ball out wide to Doku, who's got a little bit of space against Semedo. Doku steps inside, feeds it on. Nice 1-2 link up the cross from Bernardo Silva. It's cleared away, and Nelson Semedo can try and turn defence into attack for Wolves here. Has the armband tonight, and he's breaking tackles. Couldn't break that tackle, but wins the free kick off Kevin De Bruyne as the two captains come together there, and Wolves get the free kick. One thing about Wolves is, you know, what we used to say when Wolves were top competing, you know, when they were European competing under Nuno Espirito Santo, what was so impressive about Wolves was their defence. And that's what I've got to say has been so impressive since Vitor Pereira has come in to the club. You know, they were already scoring loads of goals. I mean, they've scored 51 goals this season, Wolves, which is really good for a bottom of the table side, but their defence is solidified, and they were shipping goals for fun early in the season. If we remember that game against Chelsea so early in the campaign, they got beaten for 6. Chelsea put 6 past them at the Molineux, so they've kind of solidified their defence. They haven't conceded more than 1 goal in a game at Wolves. Obviously since Spurs, but they've scored 4 in that one. That's the only time they've conceded more than 2 since the 2-1 defeat against Fulham. So they're only conceding 1 goal or 0, obviously, in those recent games, and obviously combined with their attack, and is a recipe for success in a sense. City have a free kick here, high up on this right-hand side, slightly inside, so Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne are over it. So we wait for the kick to come in, and the delivery here. It is Bernardo Silva, left-footed, flicked on by Gundogan, up in the air by O'Reilly, but not really a threat to Wolves, that. He looked comfortable, and Jose Sa comes and collects quite simply. Wasn't enough whip on it, was just a bit of a flat cross, really. Sa tried to find it out to Menezzi, nicely held up. That's really good work from João Gomez there, and he wins Wolves a free kick. He was shielding the ball, it was just a little tug on him, held him back, and João Gomez wins the free kick for Wolves. There's no doubt Wolves have a lot of quality in their squad, and I don't think I would have predicted them to be anywhere near relegation or one of the worst teams that would stay in the league this season. I didn't expect that early in the campaign. I expected them to be a good quality side, and where did I put them in my... Oh, to be fair, I actually predicted them to finish 15th, but from what we saw early in the season, the quality that they've got, and look at the team that's starting tonight, you know, there's good quality in there, and João Gomez caught there by his opposite number, Mateo Kovacic, a little bit late, gets him a free kick, but we expect Wolves to be higher up, you know, with the quality that they have. With that midfield of Andre and João Gomez, and even Bellegarde for an extent, Munetsi as well, a good quality player. And then you talk about their wing-backs, and Nelson Semedo and Ryan Ait-Nouri, very good quality players. And then, of course, Matheus Cunha offering the goals along with Strand Larsen. So they've got really good players in quality positions. And it was maybe just about linking it all up and connecting it all together. They looked a little bit disjointed, and I think that was their problem before Vitor Pereira came in. That there wasn't that connection between the squad and the fans, maybe, and the whole team as a whole, as a collective. And maybe that's what Vitor Pereira's come in, because he's a real character. I was listening to him before the game, and he's a proper character of a manager. And maybe that's what Wolves needed. Just that connection between the players. Bernardo Silva forced that one towards Gundogan. Left it there for Jeremy Doku. Keeps it in play. There's not much going on at the moment in this one. Nice switch ball by Vardiol, finding Matheus Nunes. Of course, we watched the game where Manchester City found a way past Aston Villa, and that was a big win for them. City that night. Big, big win. Here's Nunes going for the early cross. Jose Sa spotted it and easily cut it out. It's very good position from the goalkeeper. Yeah, we see it there. Nice combination down the right side there from City, and it's Matheus Nunes trying to get the ball whipped in early, and it was well covered over by the Wolves goalkeeper. Right. Welcome in to everybody watching in the chat. Great to have you with us this evening. Chris says, come on Wolves. Well, Manchester City, as I said, will go up to 3rd with a win. Wolves, if they win, they'll stay in 13th, but they will put themselves just a point behind 12th place Crystal Palace, who are in the FA Cup final, obviously, against Manchester City in a few weeks' time, and would only be 6 points off the top 10, which is still, as I said before the game, mathematically possible for them to reach. Lose tonight, and it will be much harder, of course, for Wolves. Here is Ruben Dias. Matheus Nunes. Dias again. If you're wondering what happened last night with the Nottingham Forest-Brentford game and why we didn't end up going live, well, if you would check the timings of our stream, we thought it was an 8 o'clock kickoff. Schedules got all mixed up, and it was apparently 7:30 kickoff, but we weren't ready for that then. We had to just abandon it, unfortunately, but that's what happened last night. It was very strange. Why they had a 7:30 kickoff, I don't understand it, but you know, Look at that from Jean-Rickner Bellegarde. Lovely little bit of skill. Wolves get the free kick out of it as there was a foul, but Bellegarde with a lovely little drag back and back heel. Beautiful. Andre drifting it. Finding Mateus Cunha down the left-hand side here. Dribbled his way past Ruben Diaz, but the Man City defender got in well and covered over the second touch. O'Reilly into Gundogan. That's a nice bit of play there from City, finding Mateus Nunes down the right side. And tried to force it out wide there. Overplayed it. Throw into Wolves. Gotta say, Manchester City, a little bit of lack of cohesion so far. There's just not that synergy between them in these early moments. It's a lack of rhythm. We kind of seen that in the reverse fixture. I remember watching the reverse fixture between these two earlier in the season, and Wolves were the better side early doors, and they scored a great goal early in that game. Jørgen Strand Larsen scored it, and it was a quality game, and Wolves were deservedly leading, and I think unfortunately didn't get a point, but they probably deserved a point on the day at the very least against City, because they were the better side. And City got lucky that day that they had that comeback ability, and they had, of course, that late set piece goal, but Wolves certainly did give them a good test, and that was, of course, under Gary O'Neill, a very different Wolves side back then to what they are now. But certainly quality in this Wolves side to give Man City a good game. No doubt about that. And 17 minutes gone here. City have had 2 shots, 1 for Wolves. Of course, as expected, Manchester City dominating the possession. 64% of the ball for the home side, as that through ball to Doku was just overhit. And it will be a goal kick to Wolves. We felt there was a deflection there on the way through. Looked like there might have been a touch, but just a goal kick's been given on this occasion. And you see this wide angle. Those are very, very wide from the goal kick. That's nice work down the left hand side here. Here's Ait Nouri. Lovely little ball down the sideline, and that's a good ball by Totti. Finding Munetsi. Carries it wide to the left. Back to Totti, who will go for the early cross. Headed away by O'Reilly at the back post. Again, that width from Wolves from the kickoff, from the goal kick, sorry, just gave them that extra little bit of yardage in the wider areas just to progress the ball down the sideline. It was nicely worked there. It's very interesting, very intriguing. Of course, that 3-4-2-1 we see from Manchester United, and that was a really smart and interesting, intriguing matchup last week between the two sides at Old Trafford, which, of course, Wolves won by a 1-0, but shows you what the difference coaching can make, in a sense. Two very similar styles of play, if not the same, and very different outcomes. Here's Nelson Semedo. Dribbling his way towards the box, trying to lift it in for Ait Nouri, and the ball falls for Andre, whose shot he felt was deflected, but the decision's just going to be a goal kick. Yeah, it's a nice ball wide. Nelson Semedo takes it down well, chops onto his left foot, takes the cross in. Ait Nouri just too high from it, bobbles back, and the shot there from Andre. They felt there was a call for, or they felt that it was a deflection, sorry, and not going to get that decision. Here's Jeremy Doku. Finding Mateus Nunes. Into Omar Marmoush. Rolls it in behind. Kevin De Bruyne across. Just cleared away. Kept alive by Bernardo Silva. Now Doku trying to dribble his way into his shooting position. But well stopped by the Wolves defence as he's battling back there. And he wins a corner. Does Jeremy Doku. That's such good football for Manchester City. So much better than what they were offering in these early moments. And so much better in attack. Lovely little ball into De Bruyne. Cut back. Well won back in the middle And then it's played into the box for Doku. Well closed down. And look at the pressure Doku gives here. He battles to her back and wins a corner. Really, really good football. There's two players in the Wolves net here. Andre and Bernardo Silva. Don't know what that's all about. You can't be in the net. Can't be doing that. Bernardo Silva claiming his innocence, that he has nothing to do with that moment. Let's see what Man City can do from this corner. They're first of the game. After 20 minutes. Will be De Bruyne to deliver. Whips it into the box. Punched away by Sa. Wolves trying to counter there, but well cut out well by Mateo Kovacic. Doku feeds it down the left. De Bruyne with the ball in. Weird deflection to clear it, and the shots skied over the bar by Omar Marmoush. Much better for Manchester City, much better rhythm. Lovely little ball by Doku down the left side. De Bruyne's good delivery. It's a strange header by Agbadou to try and get it away off balance, and then Omar Marmoush with the shot that was skied over the bar. Great chance here for Wolves. They're in behind. Great chance of goal. Tapped across. Oh, how did he not shoot? Great opportunity on the counter-attack. Very similar to the goal they scored against City earlier in the season. Sorry, I'm just chewing. My goodness. Look at this. Down the left-hand side. Real great challenges for Mateus Cunha. Lovely ball fed in behind. Manchester City all at sea there. Great ball. That's Munetzi across. And how did he not get it tapped in? Wolves should be leading by a goal to nil. The cross comes in. It's about 2 or 3 yards in front of the man. I think it was Bellegarde actually that got the cross in, and my goodness, how it isn't 1-0 to Wolves. Man City are incredibly lucky. But that's what we see from Wolves a lot. And we've seen it earlier in the season from them. It's those balls in behind, those late runners for Wolves are so threatening, and they've got such great quality from those areas that's where they can pose a threat. And that's where they need to try and pose a threat. This ball over the top, just offside there, is Nelson Semedo, but he certainly got himself forward for a wing back, certainly. Yeah, he's just offside. He's on actually just a little bit ahead of the halfway line. If he held his run a little bit more, he would have been in his own half there. Apologies for that. Almost missed a goal when I was chewing. Just snacking on some sweets at the moment. Sorry if that's a little bit annoying, but why not? Friday night. Here's Doku. Trying to chop inside. Well cut out by Andre, I believe that was. He stayed down for a moment there, Jeremy Doku. Maybe feeling the pain of that challenge. It was João Gomez, actually. It was a good challenge by João Gomez. Just slightly caught just by the tiniest bit. It's not a foul. It's a very, very good challenge. Here's Bernardo Silva. Back to Ruben Dias. And now to Vardiol. Gives it wide to O'Reilly. And out to Doku, who gives it back to Vardiol again. I think City just need to recompose themselves. Get back to what they were doing 2 or 3 moments ago. They've lost the ball there, central. 0-1 back by Wolves. Agbadou. Under a little bit of pressure from De Bruyne, but nicely fed wide to Ait Nuri. He tries to squeeze past his man. Went down feeling a foul, but nothing given by the referee there. Gundogan. Stolen away from him by Andre, who battles away. And Gundogan felt there was a foul, and he's just going to get the ball kicked out here. A little bit. There's nothing in that. It's great from Andre. Yeah, there's nothing in that. It's great physicality from Andre, to be fair. So, a little bit pressured playing out in the back there. It's a lovely turn by Bellegarde, though. Some speed, the ball was coming into him, and look at this ball. Fed wide, there's space here for Aït-Nouri. Can he get through? He plays it on to Cunha. Cunha in the box. Dribbled away, Aït-Nouri hits the post. Gets another chance saved. And now Semedo blocked. How have Wolves not taken the lead? 3 big moments. Aït-Nouri's left-footed shot hits the post. The second one saved by Edison, and then the third one falls to Nelson Semedo, who has it blocked. We see this great run by Matheus Cunha. Aït-Nouri's left himself a little bit free. Poor tracking by Man City in their own box there. Aït-Nouri just runs off his man. Has the shot, hits the post. Comes back to him off the post. That shot's then saved by Edison. And then it dribbles off Nelson Semedo, who gets a shot blocked for the corner, which is whipped in too high. My goodness, Wolves are so unfortunate not to be ahead in this game. From their tap-in opportunity earlier in the game to now 3 shots in a row in the Manchester City box. And a little bit of ping-pong football. And that really should be Wolves taking the lead. But Manchester City, as I said before, have to count themselves lucky that they're not behind here. Definitely should be. Here's Matheus Nunes. And it was him. Jesus, that was very aggressive. It was that Ryan Aït-Nouri, and he made that run, and as I said, it was poor tracking by Man City. It's Matheus Nunes' man. Here's our Marmouche trying to cut back into the box. The shot, or the pass to De Bruyne, well cut off there by Andre. And Aït-Nouri back to Totti. Goes long to clear. Ruben Diaz wins it back, but it was Matheus Nunes' man, and Nunes, along with 2 other City players, all go and track Matheus Cunha, but none of them spot or are aware enough to try and stop Ryan Aït-Nouri, and they really could have paid the price for it. It's unfortunate for Aït-Nouri that he didn't get the goal after 2 great opportunities. A little bit of height in any of those shots, and that would have been 1-0 Wolves. As I said, if City go and take the lead now, they will have to thank their goalkeeper and the woodwork for helping them stay level in this game. And they've got a corner off Nelson Semedo down that left-hand side, have Manchester City. It will be De Bruyne to take. The Wolves have conceded the most from corners this season. 12 conceded. 12 goals conceded from corners. It's the worst record in the Premier League. It's the corner taken short. De Bruyne, header at the way at the front post, and back post a little bit weak. Marmouche lays it off to Bernardo Silva, who whips one in. Headed away by Doherty. And then Cunha can spin away to get it to Bellegarde, who has no one up the field to try and pin the ball forward. And that Wolves attack comes to a pretty simple end. I've got to say, these sweets might have cost me £4.50, but my goodness, they're nice. Lovely ball from Kovacic, finding Doku. Inside to Vardiol, back to Kovacic. Again, Wolves sitting in shape. out of possession. Kind of 4-5-1. That's a lovely threaded ball. Just a little bit too much towards De Bruyne, but that was a really nice attempt. Sa gets rid quickly. Cunha can't keep that one in play for Wolves there. But I gotta say, similar to the reverse fixture, Wolves have been arguably the better side, especially going forward. They've been the better side. Man City look a little bit disjointed, as I said, and they don't look like they're cohesive enough at the minute. Well, here's Doku. He might want to prove me wrong here. Doku bursting towards the box, played it across, well blocked by Agbadou and cleared away by Wolves. So 1v1 here. Cunha was well seen off there by Vardiol. Nunes into Bernardo Silva. A little bit deeper, Bernardo Silva. Fizzes one out wide to Doku. The space is always there on that left side for City. Here's Doku. Inside it comes. Finds Kovacic. Speeding it up a little bit more. De Bruyne. Wide to Nunes. Back inside to De Bruyne though. Lack of cutting edge there for Manchester City. De Bruyne finding Bernardo Silva. Back to De Bruyne, who crosses. A little bit too deep, but it finds its way out to Doku, who will whip it back in and headed away by Agbadou. Well retrieved by De Bruyne. This is better for Manchester City. Lovely little 1-2, give and goes. Good challenge there by Totti to get it away. And the pressure reapplied to Wolves. The City starting to find their precise passing movement that we see so often from them. Kovacic goes out wide now to Doku. Charging towards the box. Gets past Semedo. Feeds it into O'Reilly, who shots over the bar. Much better for Manchester City. They up the pace. They up the tempo. And that up in quality, an increase in quality, is not a coincidence. Lovely little chop inside from Doku. Well fed off to O'Reilly, who just couldn't keep his shot down. And it took a deflection off Jose Sa's hands. Corner taken short. Kovacic with his shot. Well cleared away. And João Gomez is going to be penalised here for a challenge a little bit late there on Ruben Dias. Here's Matheus Nunes. Again switches it back out wide to Doku. Causing Wolves a problem at the minute. There's Doku. Switch ball out wide to De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne. Gets past out Nuri. Gets the ball in. Back post to Doku. Miskicks it. Keeps it alive though. Doku lifts it and cleared away by Doherty. And further away by Munetsi. De Bruyne has the ball stolen off him here by Bellegarde. Wolves just decide to go back with the ball. Back to Agbadou. Doherty. Looking for the switch ball. Beautifully taken down by Nuri, but well stopped there by Matheus Nunes, who puts it out for the throw. Very competitive at the moment between the two sides. Manchester City, even if they draw tonight, they would go back up to third, above Newcastle on goal difference. But of course, Newcastle, Chelsea, Forest and Aston Villa will all have the chance to respond if City do drop points tonight. And they've stolen the ball here. And here's Doku, trying to dribble his way through. Doku chops it back and it's De Bruyne! And Manchester City take the lead. Great cutback from Doku, whether he meant it or not. It found the perfect target. And it's Kevin De Bruyne that breaks the deadlock. And Manchester City hit the front and have the opening goal. City 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. And are they charging towards Champions League football? Is that Kevin De Bruyne's parting gift? Champions League football next season. And it's Jeremy Doku who's looked a threat all night down that left-hand side. Wolves haven't done enough to stop him or get in his way. and it's just a mistake in midfield. Well won in the middle. It's De Bruyne that plays it off, finding it out wide to Doku. Skips and dribbles his way back in, and he chops it back. And it was a little bit of a bobbly cutback, but in the end, as I say, it's De Bruyne that's in the right place at the right time, and a really nice finish. And it's just poor from Wolves, no tracking. But it is really nice and well deserved for Manchester City, who take the lead. Yeah, it's really lovely from De Bruyne. Really lovely. But Wolves can only blame themselves for that moment. A slight lapse in concentration in midfield, and it's led to a real catalogue of miscommunication and error, and they just could not keep themselves composed, and kind of lost their composure completely when they lost the ball and just weren't able to retrieve. And that's Kevin De Bruyne's 108th goal for Manchester City in his career. And what will be his last, I wonder? It's only his fourth Premier League goal of the season. Scored here in a 5-2 win over Palace. Was his most recent goal before this one. Went a long while between goals before that. Scored in the 3-0 win over Forest here back in early December. And look at this ball in behind. Well, charged out by Jose Sa. And he's energised there, De Bruyne. Scored and wants to try and add assists now, which is what he absolutely lives for, Kevin De Bruyne. Giving chances to his other players and other teammates. And in every game he scored this season, Kevin De Bruyne, as I said, 3 previous Premier League goals. In all of those games, Manchester City have gone on to win those respective games when Kevin De Bruyne has scored. So it's a good omen, certainly. And let's show you what it means for the Premier League table then. So I told you before that City would be top, even with a draw here, or would be top. Would be in the top 3, would be third, even with a draw tonight. And I can show you what the table looks like now. They would be in third, of course, but it won't be goal difference that's keeping them in third over at Newcastle. It will be 2 points of a gap difference. This is the way the table looks. City in third on 64 points. Newcastle on 62. And then Chelsea and Forest on 60. And Aston Villa still not out of it. They're on 57 as well in 7th. So the race for Europe will continue. But will Man City take one step closer to securing European football? And certainly Champions League football, crucially, for this football club next season. And they're certainly one step closer tonight. Pressure here on Agbadou, does well. Running it out to Bellegarde. He's give and go there without Nuri, who felt he was brought down, but it's going to be a throw in to Man City there, as referee didn't think it was a foul. Pep Guardiola. They wouldn't say that second is out of their reach, Manchester City. They would only be 3 points behind Arsenal if they win this one tonight. Of course, Arsenal play tomorrow evening away at Bournemouth, but that's somewhere they've lost before, has Arsenal, so wouldn't bet against it happening again. Or a team they've been beaten by before, sorry. They obviously lost earlier in the season away at Bournemouth. They're at home to Bournemouth tomorrow, or Arsenal. There's a nice interception there for Wolves, and brought down was Bellegarde, and he's won the free kick off Kevin De Bruyne. As I was saying, City would only be 3 points off Arsenal. And Arsenal's main focus will be that second leg of the Champions League semi-final against PSG next Wednesday, or on Wednesday, and maybe they'll take their eye off the ball tomorrow, and second wouldn't be quite wrapped up which would be remarkable that Arsenal, it was an Arsenal-Liverpool title race, and Arsenal would finish third. That would be quite crazy in that aspect. Five minutes to go with the first half. Here's De Bruyne. That's to turn it back to Matheus Nunes. I think I'm going to leave the rest of those sweets. They're really nice. They're the American sweets. I bought them yesterday. They're £4.50 though, which is a lot of money, but for one bag of sweets. But they're really nice. I've got to say, I put them away because I'll be too tempted to try and eat them, which is very unprofessional of me, I've come to realise. But sure, why not? It's Friday night. I don't know why that makes a difference, but you know what I mean. Here's Vardiol. Wide to Doku. Comes inside, finding Bernardo Silva. And of course, as I said, Pep Guardiola's side are unbeaten in the last 8 games in all competitions. Now won 4 in a row. So they have. So for the first time since October, including a 2-0 win over Nottingham Forest on Sunday, of course, in that FA Cup quarter-final, or semi-final, sorry, at Wembley. Obviously booking their place in the FA Cup final for the 3rd successive season of Manchester City. Considering, for 2023, they'd only won it once under Pep Guardiola, which was the trophy they'd won the least domestically under Guardiola since he came in. Was the FA Cup. It wasn't too kind to them as often as maybe the League Cup was in recent years, and this season now on their 3rd successive final. Of course, won the first one, lost last season to Man United, but they won't see United this season. That won't be a 3rd successive FA Cup Manchester derby final. It will be against Crystal Palace, a very different outfit, but an outfit very competitive in their own way. Crystal Palace. That will be something to look forward to on May the 17th. It will be 2 weeks tomorrow to the FA Cup final. Look forward to that. And we'll have that one live here in LFS on that day. We'll let you know a little bit closer to the time. We're not too sure what the kickoff time is for that just yet. It hasn't been officially announced, but I'm guessing 3 o'clock will be the official time, but we're yet to figure that one out just at this moment. Don't forget as well, we've got Premier League football all weekend. Tomorrow we don't, so I apologise for that, but we do Sunday and Monday. Sunday we will have a game at the G-Tech for you. We didn't get to watch Brentford last night, but we will get to watch them on Sunday afternoon as Brentford take on Manchester United. I believe that's the game that's on Sunday, unless I've got that majorly wrong. I think I might have. But that might be the game on Sunday that we'll be doing. O'Reilly in behind here. He's got past his man. He can't get past the goalkeeper. Couldn't take the shot off. Well closed down. Doku's kept it alive. I don't know why I predicted that was the case. They're not live on Sunday. I apologise again for my misjudgment. We'll be watching Brighton against Newcastle. Well, that's a real mess up, isn't it? But we will have Brighton against Newcastle. A Newcastle side also chasing the top 5. And we'll see them in action on Sunday, followed by Chelsea against Liverpool. The first guard of honour of the newly crowned champions. That's Sunday at Stamford Bridge at 4:30 for you. And then we end the weekend, a trip to Sellers Park, as we watch Crystal Palace take on Nottingham Forest. The Forest side looking to get back to winning ways after their back-to-back defeats in their last 2 games in all competitions. Certainly doesn't bode well for them. We don't want this season to peter away, do Nottingham Forest, and we'll watch them on Monday nights. It's been probably all City since they scored. Wolves have barely got forward since the opening goal was scored here by De Bruyne. Here is Doku trying to find a second before half-time. The cut back. It's Kovacic. Shot charged down very well. And now Wolves want to spring a counter. not going to get the chance to. Ruben Diaz, well cut out. 1 added minute at the end of the half. Can City carve out a good chance before half-time? Núñez. Inside to De Bruyne. Back it comes to Gvardiol. Now to Matheus Núñez. Going to swing it out wide to Doku. Can't find the ball forward. Has to go back inside to Kovacic. De Bruyne. Now Núñez. Out wide it goes to Bernardo Silva. One last chance before the half maybe. Bernardo Silva across. Gundogan keeps it alive. De Bruyne rolls it back for Núñez, told to shoot. Tries to cross it. Headed away by Doherty. Kovacic gets it to Doku. Doku across. Trying to find O'Reilly. And seen out of the box well. And that ends the first half at the Etihad. And a first half where both sides were finally poised for a good while. But it's Kevin De Bruyne that gets the opening goal and the only goal of the first half that has Manchester City leading at the break. And you'd probably have to say they were in the balance, and the first goal was always going to change the game. And it's Manchester City that have the half-time lead. Half-time at the Etihad, it's Man City 1, Wolves 0. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half-time at the Etihad. It is Manchester City 1, Wolves 0 at the break. Kevin De Bruyne, the City captain, scoring the goal there. Not long before half-time, it was a very even first half, I'd have to say. Wolves probably looked the better of the two sides going forward up until Manchester City got their goal. And it was a good spell for City. They'd up the tempo, they'd up the pace of the game, and were starting to find their passes a little bit quicker and look a little bit more threatening, and it was not a surprise that they found the opening goal shortly after that little spell started, and it was Kevin De Bruyne that found the finish. It was great work from Jeremy Doku, who's looked a threat all night down that left-hand side. As Doku has had a good game so far, and he's got his assist that has Kevin De Bruyne's goal and has Manchester City ahead at the break. That's the way we stand at the Etihad, but let's see what's to come across the weekend, because it is a jam-packed weekend of Premier League action. Tomorrow there are 4 games. Aston Villa take on Fulham in the early kickoff tomorrow. That's at Villa Park. 2 3 o'clock kickoffs as Everton host Ipswich and Leicester host Southampton. 3 of those 4 teams already relegated. Of course, Ipswich, Leicester and Southampton all heading back down to the Championship, and Everton safe for another season. And then the evening game tomorrow is at the Emirates as Arsenal take on Bournemouth. Arsenal not secure for second place. Of course, the title done and dusted, and first is wrapped up. But second isn't sealed for Arsenal. And a Bournemouth side who have an outside chance still of European football. They will go to the Emirates buoyed and looking for a big result tomorrow evening. Then on Sunday, Game at the G-Tech Community Stadium in West London. Brentford hosting Manchester United. Our game is Brighton against Newcastle. That's at 2 o'clock. And as well, a London derby between West Ham and Tottenham. Two sides in the bottom 5 are West Ham and Spurs, 17th and 16th. The battle to be the worst side left in the competition. And then 4:30 tomorrow, or on Sunday, Chelsea take on Liverpool. The first guard of honour for the newly crowned champions at Liverpool, with 4 games to go. And they head to Stamford Bridge, a Chelsea side who've got a lot on the line for themselves as well, who have top 5 to battle for, so that's a tasty one. And then Monday night, another game with another side battling for top 5. It's Crystal Palace hosting Nottingham Forest. A Palace side who are not too far away from a top half finish themselves, but Nottingham Forest side in 6th and want to jump back into the top 5. After everybody else has played, it'll be their chance to respond latest and get a big win away from home to try and get themselves back into the top 5. But we'll see how that plays out. That's the way the weekend is to come. Of course, already started the weekend tonight. Very rare that we start the Premier League weekend on a Friday. As of recently, it's been a long time since we've had a Friday night Premier League game. But tonight, it is Manchester City that lead that Friday night Premier League game through Kevin De Bruyne. And if we look at the stats from that first half, really, it's Man City with dominance of possession, 66% of the ball, 7 shots to Wolves' 5. Both have had one big chance, 3 corners for City, 2 for Wolves, 2 shots on target for City to 1 for Wolves. So City edging the stats in all of those areas so far. But one important thing is Wolves missed some big chances. They missed some really glorious opportunities, and it's this one here that I'm just seeing again down the right side. It's Jean-Ric Bellegarde, and he squares it across, and it's just a yard or two ahead of Munetsi, and how he doesn't try and get near it. He slides and he just doesn't get anywhere near it. Then we see this one 5 minutes after that, and it's Ryan Aït-Nouri drifts down the left hand side, linking up with Matheus Cunha. Cunha tries to get into the box. It's taken away from him. It folds for Aït-Nouri, whose left-footed shot hits the post. Comes back to Aït-Nouri again. He hits it with the right foot, saved by Edison, and then Nelson Semedo has the shot go for the corner. But Wolves have certainly had many's a chance in that first half to try and take the lead. But of course, it's Man City that get the lead, and it comes from a mistake in midfield. It's a cheap giveaway by Andre in midfield, and Wolves just don't really recover from that. They get the ball, feed the ball wide City to Doku, and De Bruyne not tracked on a late run into the box, and he's free as a bird as he gets his shot off, and a clean strike and a simple goal for Manchester City. But it was good pressing in the middle, and it was poor defending really from Wolves then on in to just not get the stoppage and not track the late runner of Kevin De Bruyne into the City box. You know that's where he's going to pick it up, and Wolves didn't do well enough there to try and stave it off so far. That's why we have the scoreline as it is at the break. But I think overall, I said it in the game, Wolves are still very much in this, and to a point, until the first goal was scored 10 minutes before half-time, it was a very even affair, and arguably Wolves were the better side in that they were showing more of a threat going forward, and Manchester City looked a little bit disjointed, not able to connect all those passes until obviously they did for the goal. But it wasn't like City were tearing Wolves apart and they got their breakthrough. It was just an opportunistic moment, good press, good break down the left side, and a nice finish. But Wolves are certainly still in this game, and if they get the next goal, this game could go either way. And I would bring it back to the Aston Villa game that we watched between Manchester City and Aston Villa. Was that last week? That was. And I remember watching that game and going, Villa are looking good, and they got back into the game. They got an equaliser. That was in the first half when they went 1-0 down. But Villa are looking good. They could probably steal this game. And Man City come out and won it in the second half and done enough to get over the line. So I think if you're Wolves, you would follow the same vibe that Aston Villa were on against City. That similar kind of approach. And see if you can get something out of it. At least get an equalising goal and make it a competitive game for the second half. But the way it looks and the way it would probably seem is Man City take the lead. They usually, more often than not, hold on to that lead and very rarely throw it away. But And I don't think we're going to see a real change in that trend in the second half. But we will see. Wolves have caused a shock before, and they're very much not down and out in this game. We saw a comeback in the reverse fixture. It was Wolves that were leading, and they ended up losing the game. I wonder if the reverse can happen here tonight. Wolves trailing and end up winning the game. We will see. Right, second half between Manchester City and Wolves on the way very shortly. Do stay with us here as we look, and we will tell you what's coming up across May here on LFS. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Second half at the Etihad on the way in a couple of minutes. But let's tell you what's to come up in May here on LFS. We have a lot to look forward to. As I said, this weekend a doubleheader on Sunday. Brighton against Newcastle, followed by Chelsea-Liverpool. That's on Sunday. On Monday night, Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest. Then next midweek, we are on a real run of games in a row. We have Tuesday night and Wednesday night Champions League semi-final action. Inter 3, Barca 3 from the first leg. Looking forward to that second leg on Tuesday night. Wednesday night, PSG host Arsenal. PSG, of course, 1-0 up from the first leg. Then Thursday and Friday next week, we have the Championship playoff semi-final first legs for you. Those are yet to be confirmed. Obviously, the final day of the Championship is tomorrow. Then next Saturday, we believe we have a trip to the Vitality, but that's yet to be confirmed. Bournemouth against Aston Villa, which will be a tasty affair. That one next Saturday evening. Next Sunday, a triple header of action next Sunday. At 12 o'clock, we watch Newcastle take on Chelsea, which is a real exciting one. Nottingham Forest Leicester is in the balance. And Liverpool Arsenal, looking forward to that one next Sunday, the 11th of May at 4:30. We then have the second legs of the Championship playoff semi-finals on the 12th and 13th of May. Friday night football again on the 16th, so 2 weeks' time. We will watch Chelsea take on Man United on the Friday night game. We'll have the FA Cup's final on Saturday the 17th of May, Palace against City, of course. And then an incredible day of action on the penultimate weekend of the season in the Premier League as a incredible Sunday afternoon. Everton Southampton, the final ever game at Goodison Park at 12. 2:15 Aston Villa Spurs. 4:30 Arsenal Newcastle. And Man City Bournemouth ends a bumper day of action on Sunday the 18th of May. Then on Monday night, the 19th of May, Brighton against Liverpool. The Europa League final is the 21st of May. The Championship playoff final is the 24th of May. The Premier League final day is the 25th of May. And the Champions League final is Saturday, the 31st of May. That is everything and anything you want to know of what's coming up here in LFS over the next 4 weeks. It is jam-packed, door-to-door, wall-to-wall, whatever you want to call it. Incredible action over the next few weeks here on LFS, and it is getting, as I say, to the business end of the season. It's going to be finals galore across this month. The Championship playoff final, the Europa League final, the Champions League final, the Premier League final day, the FA Cup final. So lots and lots of finals to look forward to, and we'll be here to bring you all the way through it and crown our champions of this season. We've already got one crowned in Liverpool in the Premier League, and we've got a number of teams still to crown before the end of the campaign. And we might have an interesting summer as well for you, because we might just be thinking about the Club World Cup. Now, let us know what you think, what if you want the Club World Cup, if you would be interested in watching those Club World Cup games. Of course, there's a few of them in the middle of the night, but we're not going to be doing that. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning UK time. We're not doing that. But we will certainly, will be keeping you right up to date right until the end of the season. And here, a second half to come at the Etihad. That's in just a moment. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Premier League Live, second half at the Etihad, on the way in just a second. Well, the City fans were certainly confident in their captain, Kevin De Bruyne, before the game. Well, they were right to be singing his song, as they were singing it 35 minutes in, when their captain gave them the lead. And of course, as I said, could it be his parting gift to help them get Champions League football? Will be his final season here at the Etihad. Kevin De Bruyne, as announced a number of weeks ago, a star of the Premier League, a star of world football, Kevin De Bruyne. And his goal has Manchester City ahead at the break. And as I said, his fourth Premier League goal of the season. And in all three previous occasions he scored in the Premier League this season, City have gone on to win that game against Crystal Palace, and a number of other games that I just can't remember at this moment in time, but he's certainly done it. I can verify that. A couple of them still getting their half-time meal as we're back out and underway for the second half here at the Etihad. City with a narrow one-goal advantage. Certainly not insurmountable for Wolves in this second half. They can certainly bounce back and battle back, as there's a player down inside the first few seconds here for Wolves. It's Munetsi that is holding his head, which has the referee stopped the game for a second. And he's held back to his feet. We'll see what happened here. It was a tussle with Ruben Diaz. They both went into the air and he slightly caught a stray there. A stray left arm of Ruben Diaz. Nothing malicious at all. And he is okay to continue at Marshall Munetsi. Gary says it's the finals countdown. It certainly is. Lots of finals for you, and we hope you can join us for all of those. We might actually use that. That's a good marketing tool. Thanks very much for that. If we can take that off you and use that for to advertise, it's a good idea. Thank you very much for that, Gary. Here's De Bruyne. Nice roll on from Marmouche. Lays it off to, trying to find the through ball, but not able to connect it. As I say, City just need to do more of the same. The way they ended that first half is probably the way they just need to play in the second. Keep control of the ball, keep possession, try and go and push for that second goal. Wolves have certainly looked a little bit below their level at the end of that first half. They had the wind taken out of them when they conceded. Guardiola, wide it goes to Doku. Inside O'Reilly, he couldn't keep it. It's a little bit heavy from Doku to O'Reilly. A great challenge there by Kovacic though. Finding it back to Doku. Has to spin it back to Guardiola. And Doku again. Comfortable in possession. Well, as I said, in their 10 previous Premier League trips to the Etihad, Wolves, they've won just once and drawn once since 2004. They've lost 8 of their 10 games here in the Premier League. 5-1, 3-0, 1-0, 4-1, 3-0, 3-1, 4-3 and 1-0. So certainly not a recent good place for Wolves to be. Their only win at the Etihad was in October 2019 in the Premier League. That was a 2-0 win. Adama Traore with 2 late goals to secure the win on that occasion for Wolves. That's a lovely switch ball out to Doku here. Their only other point that they have gained at the Etihad came in the very first trip here in the Premier League era, back in 2004, in April 2004, when they drew 3-3 in that game. And that was late in the campaign that time. City actually finished 16th that season in 2004. Wolves were bottom of the table that season after 38 games. And it was also a season Leicester were relegated in the Premier League. The first time these two met at the Etihad in the Premier League. Of course, they had met before in various different competitions over the years. Long ball around the corner there from Núñez, trying to find Kevin De Bruyne. Too far ahead of the captain there for Manchester City. Elsewhere in Europe tonight, because of course Friday night's the night that all the European leagues get their games on. Some good ones. La Liga, Rayo Vallecano against Getafe. It's 1-0 to Vallecano there. In Germany, Heidenheim 0, Bochum 0, Torino 1-0. Venezia 1 in Serie A, Nice 1, Reims 0 in Liga, and then the Irish League as well there. That's a lovely turn by Munetsi. Just doesn't have the pace to get forward. And it was a bit of a scrambled clearance by Matheus Núñez. He puts it out for the throw on the far side to Wolves. See this again. It was nicely headed by Munetsi first. Laid it off to Cunha. Cunha tried to return the ball. And Munetsi got a good turn on it. He just couldn't get the pace to carry the ball in behind and get in at the goalkeeper. And then Núñez scrambled it away. But there's promise in this game, certainly for Wolves. Certainly positives to take, and definitely a way back into it for the visitors. That ball forward was a little bit wayward. Kovacic had to go backwards there with the ball. Well, City actually only beaten in their terms of their home form this season by the champions Liverpool. Of course, Liverpool are the only team to have more points at home this season than Manchester City, 44. City win tonight and they will have 39 points from their 18 home games this season. Liverpool on 44 on that. Arsenal will be on 36, which is a real damner for Arsenal. In terms of Wolves' away form, it's not too bad. It's quite mid-table in their away form this season, Wolves. 6 wins, 3 draws and 8 defeats on the road from their 17 previous away games. And the teams that are below them in the table are the 7 teams that are below them in terms of their away form, as expected. Doku. There's a player down on the far side there for City. They will play on, so clearly not worried about the issues there. As Bernardo Silva is now just going to actually keep it in play. And the referee's now going to stop the game. It was a little bit naughty there from Bernardo Silva. He's trying to tease the Wolves player, and as soon as the Wolves player got it, the referee stopped the game. There is an issue here for Omar Marmoush. Slightly caught and got a bit tangled underneath the Wolves player there. Maybe caught a little bit unfortunately there by the man. And see it again. Was it Agbadou? Sorry, it was Totti that kind of caught him. It's just a little bit unfortunate. And that's not something Pep Guardiola wants to see. Omar Marmoush, the man who is in the side in place of Erling Haaland, doesn't want to see him have to come off. And of course Erling Haaland only fit enough for the bench tonight, which was a little bit of a surprise. He was expected to be out for 5 to 7 weeks, but when he got injured against Bournemouth earlier in the season, at the end of March, and we probably expected him to see him just before the end of the season, but certainly not this early on the bench. Of course, that was the game that Omar Marmoush scored the winning goal for City to get them through in the FA Cup quarter-final against Bournemouth. And Haaland also scored in that game as well. And Marmoush helped back to his feet by the physios of Manchester City. It's good to see they can walk without any need of assistance. Certainly not walking comfortably, but he's certainly walking, which is a positive sign. Maybe he can just run off this little issue. And certainly no hint of a substitution here for City anyway, so that will probably err on the side of Marmoush is going to come back on here in a moment. Wolves have the ball at the back. And they were urged to give the ball back. I thought that was a bit strange. They got the throw in, or they got the drop ball because the game was stopped because of Omar Marmoush's injury, and then Wolves just kept the ball, which was a little bit strange, but they just booted it forward to win it, to give it back to Manchester City, which is in the fair play rules, of course. It's not an official rule, you don't have to, but it's for fair play, and everybody follows that fair play. Jesus. Almost lost my lighting there. Here is Gvardiol. Down the left side for O'Reilly. Nice chopped inside. Nico O'Reilly just run too much. Lost the ball. He's battled to win it back. Doesn't win it back on that occasion. Here's Semedo. Surrounded by sky blue shirts. Finds his teammate in Andre. Doherty. Rolled on down the right side. And Doherty trying to dart it towards Cunha. Cunha couldn't keep it, but it's fallen nicely here for Bellegarde and finds out Nuri, who tries to cross early, blocked by Matheus Nunes, and it will be a throw into Wolves. More positive signs for the visitors. Responded well in this second half so far of Wolves. Badu switching it out to Nelson Semedo, who just couldn't keep the possession once again. Now here is Ruben Dias. Nunes. Dias. Finding Bernardo Silva. Inside to Nico O'Reilly. Well, challenged off the ball. And Cunha gets the ball down from the pass. He's got Menezzi in the middle. Wants to go himself. Hits the post. And Bellegarde couldn't find Menezzi in the follow-up, but Matheus Cunha was inches away from finding the equaliser for Wolves. The man who more often than not steps up for the side this season. Almost find an equalising goal. And what a great goal it would have been. Him clattering off the left post. Well, that's another real positive for Wolves, that this game is well within their reach. And they're only 1-0 down, which, as I said, is not insurmountable. And that was the first official shot of the half, actually, from either side. That one from Matheus Cunha. It was a great strike. Again, a little bit of opportunism. That's not the way to pronounce it. Opportunism from Wolves there. And Matheus Cunha, he's got such quality. Of course, the links possibly to a Man United move in the summer. If I was his agent, if I was his advisor, I would say, do not touch that with a barge pole. And it looks like Nico O'Reilly's going to be coming off. And it's going to be Manuel Akanji that's going to come on in his place. So I think Akanji will go to centre back, and maybe Gvardiol will chop down to left back. And yeah, Nico O'Reilly's just got a little bit frustrated. And I think Pep Guardiola just wants to bring some more experience off the bench, just to solidify his defence a little more. Goodness me, that's such a great opportunity. Chopped inside Cunha. Squeezed it through. And Edison was committed. So unfortunate that it doesn't find the net. It comes crashing off the post. Nice work there from Ait Nouri. Latching on to Gundogan's loose pass. Now Bellegarde. A bit of belief in Wolves now. Ait Nouri. Bellegarde. Drifting into the box. Flick on by Cunha. Menezes slipped and Edison can grab. Menezes felt he was pulled to the ground, but it looked like a slip from what I could see, and the referee Peter Banks agrees. We'll see if whether Paul Tierney, the VAR, agrees with that or not. Or maybe thinks the referee has to have a look at it. I'm not hearing anything of that indication. And it has been checked by Paul Tierney and cleared, so no penalty for Wolves there. Quickly cleared up that one. Looked like a slip anyway from Marshall Menezes, but again, a bit more promise from Wolves. More of a threat now. Vardiol. Back to Akanji as Erling Haaland applauded as he warms up on the sidelines. The main man for Manchester City. Good block by Semedo. Well challenged. Finds Matheus Cunha. He's got a runner off him and Bellegarde, but flicks it back for Ait Nouri in the centre. Inside to Andre. And now João Gomez. Andre. Finding it into Matheus Cunha. Trying to dribble through bodies. Couldn't dribble through that many. And Doku comes charging away with the ball here for City. Down the left-hand side. Doku skips past Andre. Tries to chop back inside. Well challenged by Matt Doherty. And Wolves retrieve the ball in their own box. As we hit the hour mark inside the Etihad. City 1, Wolves 0. But that goal lead is far from locked, tight, secure for Manchester City. Totti. Out wide to Ait Nouri. Back to Totti. Inside to Agbadou. Through the lines, finding João Gomez caught loose. Well charged down, and one back here for City. And now Doku finding De Bruyne. Out wide it goes. Bernardo Silva trying to find De Bruyne. Nicely blocked and cut off there by Ait Nouri. Lovely little flick down the left side, but Ait Nouri gets a little bit too cute on the ball and loses it in midfield. Kovacic. Vardiol now wide to Doku. Kovacic. I think that second goal for Manchester City is more necessary and obligatory than they probably would have wanted, but certainly what they would have expected. As Wolves were always going to come and cause a threat in the second half. So far, haven't been able to find the equaliser, but only the woodwork away were Wolves to finding that leveller. It's nice work from Kovacic in the middle there. Out wide it goes to Nunes. Now finding De Bruyne, who tries to cross. Well blocked there at the near post by Totti. Will be a corner to Manchester City though. And their fourth corner of the night for City. And their first of the second half. It's not been full of attacking action so far the second half. Just that Matheus Cunha shot, the only registered shot of the second half so far. Let's see what De Bruyne can deliver here. Left footed. Up into the air and into the hands of Jose Sa. Comfortably retrieved for Wolves. Well, in terms of the chase for the top 5, City win tonight. They will be 4 points clear of 6th place Forest. Of course, Forest would have a game in hand. It would all have still to be played this weekend, but Forest would be 4 points behind City, so wouldn't be able to go above them. But what they would do was certainly keep pressure on them. So a win tonight is more necessary than comfort for City. They do need it, and certainly do need a good run of form to the end of the season if they want the top 5. But outside Nuri here, down the left side. Nuri tried to cross. Well blocked by Matheus Nunes. Will be a corner to Wolves though, down the left side. A bit more end to end. Lovely little chop back from Totti linking up with Nuri as the corner came short. It's headed away in the box there. It's getting a little bit more open, this game. It's probably what we want to see. Totti wide to Nuri. And to dribble his way through, he does. Somehow still going Nuri. And the last touch off Kevin De Bruyne, which gets another Wolves corner. That was much better from Ryan Nuri. It's the most goals and assists by a defender this season in the Premier League. 11 for him. Certainly in a defensive position. He is certainly punching above his positional weight anyway. And is one of the most productive defenders in this league season. Corner for Wolves, left-hand side. Bodies all in and around the 6-yard box. Deep delivery. Headed up in the air by Akanji and tried to go for the overhead kick there. Did the man at the back post. Couldn't keep it. And City trying to charge away with Marmoush. Seen out well. And now Wolves are going to make a double change. And it's going to be Rodrigo Gomez and Pablo Sarabia that are going to be coming on. And Matt Doherty and Jean-Rickner Bellegarde are coming off. So Bellegarde and Doherty are off. And Rodrigo Gomez and Pablo Sarabia are on for Wolves. And let's see what those two substitutions can conjure up for Wolves. Sarabia has scored in his last 2 away games for Wolves, away at Ipswich and away at Man United. Would love to make it 3 games in a row that he's scored away from home in the Premier League. And for Rodrigo Gomez, he's also got on the score sheet as of recently. Last time out at home against Leicester in that 3-0 win, he was also on the score sheet. Here's Doku though, who set up the goal. Couldn't find a way through there. Vardiol. De Bruyne. Bodies in the box. De Bruyne's cross. Headed away by Totti. Vardiol recycles it wide now. And Kovacic has to turn it back the way. 24 minutes to go. City lead by a goal to 0. But still this game hangs in the balance. Doku. To Vardiol. City feed the ball back to Akanji. Kovacic. Nice chip ball over the top. Marmoush takes it down. Gives it back to Matheus Nunes, and he has to go back to Ruben Dias. In terms of what's to come for Manchester City, as I say, they've one more Premier League game before the FA Cup final. They head to Southampton, already relegated Southampton, next weekend, in 8 days' time, next Saturday at 3 o'clock, before they then head to Wembley to face Crystal Palace in the FA Cup final, the Saturday after that. And then their final 2 games of the season comes after that, as De Bruyne gets it from Doku, wasn't able to get the shot off, falls to Bernardo Silva, feeds it down the right. Here's Marmoush. Marmoush with the shot over the bar. And then the final 2 games of the season for City, home to Bournemouth and away to Fulham. For Wolves, much easier. 3 league games remaining for them after this one. A hosting of Brighton next weekend. Then the weekend after that, they head to Palace before they end the season with a home game against Brentford on the final day. Marmouche, a very good opportunity there, just couldn't keep it down, the shot. And there's the man that's the key creator for Manchester City so far, Jeremy Doku. 14 touches in the opposition box, 9 more than any other player on the field of play. He is certainly making himself known tonight, and he's got the assist for that City goal from Kevin De Bruyne. I wouldn't bet against him getting another goal involvement before the night is out. Here's Vardiol. Doku. Nice work there for Kovacic round the corner. Finding De Bruyne. His ball was a little bit wayward, but it finds its way to Marmouche. Up against Ait-Nouri. Cuts it back for Nunez. Inside to De Bruyne again. Diaz. Kanji now. Finding Vardiol, wide left. Back to Doku again, back inside to Vardiol. City passing it around. A little bit of zip. Just need that little bit of cutting edge to get towards the box. Nunez chops back. Gives it back to De Bruyne. Forces it into Bernardo Silva. Cuts it back in the shot from the edge of the box. From Kovacic. It felt he was going to get a corner there. Don't know whether he did or not. Here's Bernardo Silva, cuts it back, and did that take a deflection? Didn't look like it did. And it's just a goal kick. But certainly trying to push for that second goal, City. 20 minutes to go here at the Etihad. It is still only 1-0. As Pep Guardiola watches on. Certainly not a comfortable watch for Guardiola at the moment. His side narrowly leading. Trying to find that second just to settle the slight nerves that will be evident and very clear on the face of Pep Guardiola there. There's Doku. Fouled there a little bit cynically by, I think that was Rodrigo Gomez. Sam says, how's it going, man? I need Wolves to get just one goal. You think they will get it? Well, they've certainly had a threat in the second half. They've battled back well, Wolves, but it was Mateus Cunha, as you would expect, that's had the best chance for them. And that hit the woodwork. So they haven't had much since then, but I do think there is something in this Wolves side. They could nick a goal. If City keep it narrow till the end, if it stays 1-0 to the real later stages, you never know, Wolves could nick a goal. You can see that in Pep Guardiola's face. He knows it could be possible that could happen. And I'm sure Wolves in themselves believe they can try and get that equalising goal. That's as if they don't concede a second, which they aren't guaranteed. Is almost a through ball, finding Omar Marmouche there. Again, it was Doku that was the main man carrying it forward, but just about last ditch getting it there, Wolves. It's a big 20 minutes. Remember, City don't come away with a win here. It is another twist in the top 5 tail. A draw would still keep City in third, apologies, but that would be at the mercy of the results all the way throughout the weekend. If Newcastle, Chelsea and Forest all win and City fail to win, City would find themselves outside the top 5 come the end of the weekend, which would be a bit of a disservice and a bit of a disappointment for Manchester City if they weren't able to get it over the line. They're checking for a possible red card here, I believe, our VAR, on Ryan Ait-Nouri. Stretched for the ball, and did he catch his man there? I don't think that's a foul. I don't think that's a red card in my opinion. It's a little bit late, Ryan Ait-Nouri, but he just goes over the ball. He rolls his foot over the ball and he just catches Kovacic afterwards, but is that enough for a red card? I'm not too sure. And the check is complete. So Paul Tierney doesn't feel it was a red, and he tells the referee that information. And Peter Banks continues play. So Ryan Aït-Nouri, whether he got off the hook or not there, but I think it's a little bit unlucky. Kanji finding Vardiol. So it's 11 v 11 for the final 16.5 minutes or so here at the Etihad. City lead, but only narrowly. Is there going to be a chink in their armour? And will Wolves find that equalising goal that could turn this game on its head in the latter stages? Or can City conjure up their incredible form and incredible quality of past to grind out results when they're not at their best and find a way to win? That's what City have built their successes on over the last many's a year under Pep Guardiola. Can they conjure that history and that foundation they so built here tonight to get over the line? I mean, a second goal would surely help them, no doubt about it, but yeah. Here's Kovacic. Nunez with a chip ball, far too far away from any of his teammates there, and easily gathered by Jose Sa. And of course, Matheus Nunes scored that late winner against Aston Villa here in the 94th minute to secure them 3 points that night against a fellow battler. That was a real body blow to Aston Villa's Champions League hopes, as they find themselves bottom of the pile really in terms of the teams competing for the top 5 after that game. That was Matheus Nunes that got that winning goal. Sarabia, 15 to go. Wolves haven't had a shot since that Matheus Nunes effort that crashed off the left post. That was a long while ago now. Haven't really posed much of a threat to Manchester City since that point. In the 56th minute that one was. 20 minutes ago, that Wolves shot. Almost caught in possession there. That was nicely fed wide though to Sarabia, trying to link it up, and pressure still put on. Vardiol was caught there a little bit late, and it's going to be a free kick to Manchester City. Mazin says, as a Chelsea fan, I need a Wolves goal to keep Chelsea's Champions League hopes alive. Well, let's just have a quick look at the table, and see what it would do for the others. So as you can see there, City would be in third on 64 points. Newcastle and Chelsea are behind them. They're the other two in the top 5. Newcastle on 62, Chelsea on 60, and Forest also on 60. So Chelsea would be in the top 5 no matter what happens tonight, but they would want to solidify that when they host Liverpool later on the weekend if they can win against the champions. But Nottingham Forest are there and ready to pounce if not, as are Aston Villa. So Chelsea are not in a great position, but they are in the top 5 and know if they keep winning till the end of the season, or at least bettering the two teams below them's results, they should be fine and dandy. But it's not as simple as that. It's never as simple as that, the battle for the Champions League. There's always a twist. There's always a turn before the end, and we're certainly trying to keep as much of an eye on it as possible between now and the end of the season. Certainly that's our key focus between now and the end of the season, is that battle for top 5. And who knows, it could come down to the final day. Chelsea and Nottingham Forest play each other at the City Ground on the final day, and that could be a battle for the last remaining place in the top 5. If not, it will certainly be a battle for a European spot anyway. 6th and 7th could be the difference. Of course, Chelsea, if they win the Conference League, which looks very likely, but they will be in the final anyway after their commanding victory last night in their semi-final first leg. 4-1, I believe they came out with a victory in. They did, away at Djurgården. Sorry, I've never heard of that team. Where are they from? Sweden. Lovely. But Chelsea would, of course, get Europa League at the very minimum if they win the Conference League, obviously. If they don't win that competition, it will be their league position to decide it, of course. Man United and Spurs also took a big step towards a Europa League final. Their commanding wins in their respective semi-finals last night as well in the Europa League. I mean, it would be crazy for the season that one of those two teams have had. If one of them gets Champions League football next season, that's mental. That is mental. Here's Gundogan. De Bruyne. And to do the drag back to keep the possession. De Bruyne looks a little bit gassed here. Just had to rescue for the throw in there. Looked a little bit caught out of position, caught out of rhythm there, Kevin De Bruyne, and almost got caught on the ball. It looks like Gonzalo Guedes is going to be entering the fray here for Wolves very shortly. City have only made one change so far, which is intriguing. It's often the case with Pep Guardiola. Doesn't want to make too many changes. But I've got to say, I don't understand that really. I get that they want to try and keep the team and don't want to ruin the rhythm, but if you don't feel like your players are doing enough and trying to get the second goal, try and change the game up. Cause Wolves a different problem. As Gonzalo Guedes is going to be coming on. They're going to take off Andre, so it's a midfielder coming off and a attacker coming on. It's really needs must for Wolves, really. With just over 10 minutes to go. They need to have that extra attack and posing threat. And they need to try and find a way to get an equaliser here in these latter stages. Vardiol. Here's Doku. I feel like they need to take that extra risk now, do Wolves. As I said, they haven't had a shot since the 56th minute, 25 minutes ago. So, start to the half that looked so promising. It's kind of dwindled away for Wolves. It's like it did for Aston Villa. Although that game was level. And City were eyeing up a winner in that one, but similar circumstances or similar kind of play out of the game in that way. The game's just really petered out in a sense, but a goal would certainly change the dynamics, and that's either side scoring. Second goal for City would wrap it up, would secure the victory. But a Wolves equaliser could be a real twist in this top 5 race, and that's what has us hooked to the final whistle here at the Etihad. They were witness to a late winner just over a week ago. Those City fans, are they witness to a late body blow here this evening? Or can Wolves deliver that body blow? At the minute, they look a little bit blunt to the Wolves attackers. Just need that one good moment. We certainly had a few of them in the first half. They probably should have done a lot better from. Agbadou. Back to Jose Sa. Wasteful distribution from Sa there. Lots of options. Didn't find any of his teammates. Is battling there. Munetsi wins it back well. Laid off well there by Guedes. And Sarabia trying to dart it through. A little bit of a miscue as Akanji does get it away. Late challenge there. We'll get the throw in the way of Manchester City, who are going to make a triple change here. So we're going to see Rico Lewis. He's had a little bit of a haircut, that's why I couldn't recognise him. Phil Foden and James McAtee are all coming on for Manchester City. Omar Marmoush is coming off. As is Kevin De Bruyne. who scored that goal that would be the winner as it stands for Wolves, or for Manchester City against Wolves tonight. Great goal, great setup by Jeremy Doku, and the City captain. Could that be his parting gift? As De Bruyne is off, as was Marmoush, and as was Ilkay Gundogan. So Foden, Lewis and McAtee all replacing De Bruyne, Marmoush and Gundogan. Six and a half minutes there just on to try and see this result out for City. Bernardo Silva, goodness, could have got himself caught out there. Did well with the drag back, and he's got it through here to Jeremy Doku down the left. Couldn't get further forward there, Doku. But nice link up with Vardy to just keep the attack flowing for City. Fans of Newcastle, Chelsea, Nottingham Forest and even Aston Villa all watching on to see what their probably toughest opponent for a top 5 spot can do. If they can hold on, or can Wolves all give them a helping hand? I don't know what's going on down there, but whatever's going on with that plug, it certainly doesn't seem the securest for my lighting down there, as City get a free kick. You can tell I'm not used to doing Friday night games. Wolves are going to make another double substitution here. And it's going to be their main threat, Matheus Cunha. He's going to make way. It might be just a slight knock to him is taking him off. So Nelson Semedo and Matheus Cunha replaced by Santiago Bueno and Hee-chan Hwang. So Hwang and Bueno on, and straight replacements positionally for the two players they've come on to swap out for. Can those fresh legs offer some energy to Wolves? Or Man City just going to get it over the line here? Agbadou steps out, plays a nice ball forward to Guedes, who had a terrible first touch there. And now Rico Lewis bursts away from Manchester City. He's carried it down the right side. He's still got it here, Lewis. Rico Lewis with a cutback, trying to squeeze it through for Foden. And McAtee couldn't keep it. And now Agbadou under pressure at the back. Totti, Bueno, nice work from Sa. Feeds it wide here. Dwight Nuri just couldn't keep it there, and it was a great chance for Rodrigo Gomez, but he couldn't get forward, and Man City retrieved the ball. Diaz. Back to Edison, whose distribution there wasn't the finest towards Vardy. Throw in here to Wolves. Bueno. Back to Totti. Bueno again. Trying to feed it over the top, but again a little bit wasteful, Wolves. Just cannot get the ball to stick up the field. Really struggling. Man City, as I said, conjuring up those moments from the past and previous seasons of grinding out results and getting the win when they haven't been at their best. It will be a massive result and a massive booster for them in their hopes of Champions League football, as that was a bit loose down the right side there. Will be a Wolves throw in. A reminder for you, we do have a double header on Sunday in the Premier League. Brighton take on Newcastle. That's Sunday at 2 o'clock, followed by a 4:30 kickoff at Stamford Bridge as Champions League Chelsea take on the champions Liverpool. Gomez. Sarabia. Charge down well again. Wasteful from Wolves. That's nicely won by Santiago Bueno. And Agbadou going back, but they're running out of time here, Wolves, so they're going to try and get something. Need to get up the pitch to even have a chance at a shot. They just cannot get through. Bueno. Switch ball out to the left, and header couldn't be kept in play. Again, they just run out of ideas, run out of energy, run out of everything, Wolves, and just don't. I didn't expect to see this drop off of Wolves in the second half. I think once that Mateus Cunha chance hit the post, you thought that would energise them, that would give them a real boost to try and find the equaliser, but it's been the exact opposite. The last 30 minutes or so has just been really lacklustre. Haven't been able to get the ball forward whatsoever. That's a ball, and that's well overhit. Nowhere near Rodrigo Gomez's universe, never mind anywhere near him. And it was João Gomez that tried to play the pass. It was a good option, just a terrible execution. This would be City's 19th win of the season, which, funnily enough, would actually be more wins than second-placed Arsenal, who would only have 18 wins coming into this weekend. Obviously, they will still have to play, but that would be some statement. City actually have more wins than Arsenal. And Arsenal are having that great season of trying to battle Liverpool for the title. It never really was a title race, and City are having one of their worst campaigns to date under Pep Guardiola. 5 minutes of additional time. And is that enough for Wolves to try and find an equaliser, or are we done and dusted? I think we're edging towards the latter being the outcome. I think that's been the pretty evident for the last 10, 15, 20 minutes probably. Sarabia, unless there is an inspired moment from Wolves that comes from nowhere. Sarabia holding on to the ball well, brought down, wins the free kick. Just in his own half though. Kick forward by Sarabia. Header flicked on towards Bueno, cleared away by City. Kept alive as the ball flicked up in the air by João Gomez and brought down by Sarabia. Spins away from his marker, linking it up well down the right side. Here's Rodrigo Gomez, feeds it in behind. Guedes with a cross, and cleared away by Bernardo Silva. Doku, though, battling, and it was the last touch off Sarabia, which gets City the throw. 3 minutes to go, and that was probably Wolves' best attack of the last 35 minutes. That move down the right side, lovely weighted ball by Rodrigo Gomez, good cross by Guedes. Just behind his the men in gold in the middle. And in the end, just cannot find the final pass there, Wolves. Much more promising, but not able to find the final pass. City will have another throw in down the left, and it looks like Nico Gonzalez is coming on for City. Just to add that extra little stability in midfield, and it's going to be Mateo Kovacic that's going to make way. So a straight swap in midfield. A very promising evening for Mateo Kovacic in that defensive midfield position. Throw in here down the left by Vardiol. Gested by Doku, but out of play. 2 minutes remain. Wolves with the throw in. Back to Agbadou. Sa will thump it long. Over the head of Ryan Nouri, and Mateus Nunes, sorry, will just see that one out for the City throw. Referee is trying to get the attention of Matheus Nunes there. 3 blows of the whistle until he got the attention of the City man. 90 seconds remain. Nunes with a throw. Held back there down the right side. And that's going to be a foul. Given away by Totti. And a free kick to Man City that might just get them over the line here this evening. One remaining minute. City, I would guess, the smart thing to do would be going to the corner flag here, rather than trying to deliver this one into the box and maybe risk a counter-attack. There they are. Down the line it goes to Lewis. McAtee. And Bernardo Silva absolutely thumped that one into the crowd. Almost took out one of his own fans there, Bernardo Silva. Throw into Wolves. Deep in their own half. They need to get forward and fast if they're going to score a last gasp equaliser. Haven't even had a shot on target in the second half. Only one shot on target all night. They're going to need one to come out of nowhere, and that's not going to help them. Another throw-in will come their way from that long clearance by Lewis. So throw-in taken quickly there. Back to Sa, who will hit and hope. The long one. Cleared away. There's a space opening down the right side here. Here's Guedes. And now a little bit of room. And the ball dribbled off Doku. It will be a corner. This is last chance saloon for Wolves. And the keeper's coming up here, Jose Sa. Who knows? Last chance for Wolves. Why not get everybody up? You've got nothing to lose. Let's see what they can do. Corner, left-footed, flicked on, cleared away, and no time left. The game is done. Wolves' corner comes to nothing, and they go away with nothing. Manchester City, it wasn't their most vintage performance, wasn't the most vintage in terms of quality tonight, but all that matters for City is they have 3 precious points and are 1 step closer to another Champions League season next season. 3rd is where they sit tonight, where they jump up to. But the crucial point is they have a number of points further ahead of the teams below them. They will finish only as low as 4th come this weekend if Newcastle win. No matter what happens elsewhere, City can only be as low as 4th come the end of the weekend. That's what this win means. A draw would have put them at mercy of the 3 teams below them. But with 3 games to go, Manchester City are in the driving seat when it comes to Champions League qualification. And 2nd may not be wrapped up yet. And City might be hanging on the coattails of Arsenal. Final score here from this Friday night game at the Etihad. It's finished Manchester City 1, Wolves 0. And probably a deserved victory for Manchester City in the end. They hung on, they did just enough, and it was a bit of class from Kevin De Bruyne, as expected. And as always, as I said, could that be his parting gift to help them 1 step closer to Champions League football? Remember, there's still an FA Cup final on the cards for City in 15 days' time. They have another Premier League game before that's a worry for them, and they probably expect to win that away at Southampton. But they are certainly, as I said, in the driving seat when it comes to the top 5. Let's have a look and see what that means then for the top 5. So City in 3rd on 64 points. Newcastle could go above them again and drop City to 4th if Newcastle win their game away at Brighton on Sunday. They're on 62. Chelsea on 60. They're looking a little bit behind them, Chelsea. They're a little bit worried about Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa. So if they fail to pick up 3 points against Liverpool, they're at the mercy of the 2 teams below them in Nottingham Forest and Villa, who sit in 6th and 7th. That's the way it looks as we kick off Matchday 35 and what's still to come. Well, let's tell you. Aston Villa hosts Fulham tomorrow lunchtime. Ipswich head to Everton at 3 o'clock tomorrow, as do Leicester facing Southampton. Arsenal take on Bournemouth. Arsenal not secured 2nd just yet, but certainly not in the title race anymore. That's done and dusted. And Bournemouth might have an outside chance of Europe, so that'll be a keen one next tomorrow evening. Sunday, Brentford against United. Brighton Newcastle is our game here on LFS at 2 o'clock on Sunday. West Ham Spurs is a London derby. And then we head to Stamford Bridge at 4:30 on Sunday as Chelsea host the champions Liverpool. And then Monday nights it's another battle for Champions League as Champions League chasing Nottingham Forest head to Crystal Palace. That's Matchday 35. We're off and running for our fourth to last weekend in the Premier League season, and what a month May is turning out to be. It's only started, but we have a lot still to come. Lots of finals and a lot of big games on the horizon. Thanks for your company tonight, and enjoy the rest of your Friday night, and we'll see you across the weekend. Bye bye.